Hey, here we are back with the Tiger Sports Show. Another week, another trip around Tiger Sports News. Trent, big week for Unified Bowling, first year in the Unified Bowling program. And my co-host and little brother, Trent Mays. Is that the official program there, Trent, you're looking at? Trent, you're muted, man. This could be a great show. This could be a great. Oh no, now okay.
How am I muted? Well,
I don't know.
producer
You're
Kate
muted.
must not like me.
All
But
right.
yeah, this was official program that I got, and I got my official state bowling shirt on. So it was a fun experience. First, let's talk about the districts. They got moved back to after we taped on the Wednesday. We loaded up the bus again. We actually made it out of the parking lot this time, so that was a nice experience. For me personally, my ComArts kid freaked out a little bit. Young man who I help in ComArts. I wasn't in class today. He sent me an email saying, what do I do? So I did a little ComArts from about Aurora to the York turnoff. We sent about 15 emails back and forth. Now he's sick this week, so he's been out the whole week. So
that's the magic of the internet, Trent.
Yeah.
That's the magic. You're teaching right from that bus.
Well, I could have probably Zoomed him.
Yep.
From the bus with that technology. But we're
you
pretty close
to remember this, but we had a pandemic once where we had to do stuff like that.
Yeah. And he responded pretty well. He got a lot of that stuff that I wanted him to get done. So we get to York, and we struggled early. We bowled 6 bakers with our 5. We bowled 3 people, an athlete, which is a kiddo that I work with. What?
Okay. An athlete.
Yeah, student in special education. And then we had partners. So we had 2 regular bowlers were the partners. So we bowled 3. Mr. Ethan Cresili said I messed up a lot on last week about districts and all that. So I finally learned all about that. So we bowled 6 bakers. We struggled early. We caught a groove. York, it was funny. Coach Priestley said our magic number was to get to 750. She thought that's what we needed to do to get to a wild card and see. So I had to scramble to get a piece of paper, and I had to get my phone out, my fingers out, because the numbers got pretty high. So
did you keep your shoes on, or did you have to?
Well, we were close. Luckily, my phone was working pretty good. So we hit 901. We really caught a groove in the last 4 bakers. We struggled early. We were keeping track of who we were chasing. We were chasing York from the beginning. They were very nice to us. The coach said afterwards that they got really nervous because we actually got up 13 pins on them going in the last baker. Oh. So and then it was tie to tie. We were totaling them up on the fly to see how close it was going to be. We ended up losing by 4 pins. We left the second frame in the 10th open and didn't get the bonus. If we would have got one, if we would have scored in both those, we would have been district champs. Then we had to play the waiting game.
You brought home the district runner-up plaque, though.
Yeah, we brought that home. That was fun. We put it in the front seat, which is what you do with trophies that you earn. We didn't have a seat belt, but we would have seat belted it in. They had it underneath like a coat or something. I was like, we got to put that thing in the front row. So
exactly.
That rides. So 901. We started to get scores in. We were confident that it would get us, that we would be one of the 2 wild cards. I wasn't sure last week's show how many wild cards there were, and it got us in. We got official word about Aurora, and we did one of those typical team on the bus thing when you hear about districts and that you're going to state. Everybody started screaming. We had all the other kiddos there from the team, most of them that wanted to come, and that was fun because we were the only school that had the extra kiddos there. So we had pretty much had our whole team there.
Built-in cheering section. That's nice.
Yep. So that was fun. And then we got to go to eat at the York Interstate and stuff. And the kids had a good time. So.
All right. Well, tell us about state. We had
state was a new experience. I've never been a coach at a state tournament. So It was fun. I got on the back of a shirt. People gave me a hard time about
You
that.
got to behave yourself. You got to behave yourself at a state.
Yeah, I
tournament.
had to dress up that day. I had to wear the black pants, and that's Coach Priestley and Grace Niemeyer. Winter, who's on the Tiger girls team, Zach Just, Levon Handler, and Ethan Crecelius. We had a lot of fun that day. It was a long day. We left at 6. I drove in the dark. Didn't have a radio for most of the way. I got to run the cruise. So that was fun. The national anthem, as you can see the colors going down the lanes, Craig.
Yeah.
Which was pretty impressive. During the national anthem, they all go red and they flash them for the reds, for the part where it talks about the red. Can't remember that part. The
Rockets red glare.
Rockets red air. And then when the bombs bursted in air, one by one, they had 26 lanes. They knocked down the pins in each one. At the bombs bursting in air. That place, they do an awesome job. They host regular bowling state.
That's like a bowling version of a flyby over the stadium.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely. It's the greatest national anthem I've ever experienced in my life.
Wow. All right.
Next year, I want to get that. So we get to the Bakers. We've got a bowl preliminary round. Mm-hmm. We were trying to fight some nerves. It was a long trip. We left at 6 in the dark, of course. We thought we bowled pretty decent in the Bakers. We left some frames open. That was our goal, was to lock them down in the back. And we got the 6th seed. We drew North Bend. Probably the only time we played a team from North Bend.
Tiger on Tiger violence.
Yeah, and they were very nice competition. We were trying to stay with some of the teams that we'd seen and knew, but we just came up a little short against North Bend. They in the last frame, so we had to bowl the best of 5, 3 out of 5, and it was Baker games. They went on 12 throws in the last Baker that we bowled. They had 9 strikes.
Whoa!
So that's pretty impressive. They had a sped kiddo who turkeyed the 10th frame. There wasn't much we could do. We tried our best. We got a little down. Now, the best part is we had the largest cheering section. I got to give props to Mrs. Foster, Mrs. Williamson, the skills teachers. They brought not only the other teammates on the bowling team, the unified team, they brought all the skills kids.
Nice.
And all the kids that I work with. They brought all their paras. So it was fun. It was tight. We made it even tighter. I think I scared some of the bowling kids, a couple of the regular ones. I mentioned maybe the Tiger band might show up. There was definitely not room, but it's a state tournament.
Hey, you never know.
In our eyes, you take the band, but to see those kiddos down there, we went and ate at Big Red, some Big Red sports bar or something that was just down the street. So they all had fun after that, and then we came home and drove each other nuts on the way home. So,
well, it sounds like a great experience. Who won Class B bowl?
Lexington did. Lexington upset Ogallala. It was a 5-set, 5 Baker game thriller. Yeah. Went down to the wire. It looked like Ogallala was going to clinch it. And then North Bend Central, they ran into that Lexington buzzsaw that we ran into earlier in the year, but it was a totally different team this time around. So it was a good experience for our kids. Yeah. We'll have some bowlers back. We'll lose some good seniors with Levon and Zach Just in Winter, but hopefully we can have Grace back and Ethan back. There might be a little Crecelius coming up, who is a good bowler. And one reason they brought the other kiddos was to try to encourage them to try unified bowling next year.
Exactly. Dream big.
It's a way for those kids to be athletes. So they're considered Tiger athletes. Mrs. Douglas was there.
Nice.
And she took us out to lunch and stuff. So it was all fun.
Great. A great deal. A great first-year program here at Hastings High. All right. Let's run through, because we got all our winter sports programs going, Trent. What did you see of the basketball games? Both basketball teams dropped their 2 openers to Seward and Crete. The girls kind of got handled by Seward and then played Crete really tough. Had a chance to win that game right down the stretch. Then the boys kind of didn't get the season started on time, fell way behind Seward, and then came back hard and just fell short at the end. And then Crete got after them a little bit. It was kind of opposite games. What'd you see of those?
Well, I watched the Crete girls game. Our favorite Langren girl, Emma, she had a good night. The TV guys kept talking about her. She was scoring. They played some pretty tough defense. They just couldn't get the shots to fall. The boys ran into a buzzsaw. I watched part of that. Crete runs probably 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5".
They got some Mazurcheks going, don't they?
That's a girl. The girl does.
Okay.
But their boys were just tall and skinny, and they could run and do all that stuff.
They're a top 10. They're a top 10 team, and I think our boys have that in mind that they ought to get there, and sometimes a good early game like that to see, okay, what's our gap? If we have to get there, what do we have to do to cover that gap? So hopefully some good things can happen.
Part of the Seward boys game that I saw, we just didn't get the shots to fall. We were firing up some threes, and they get their shots to fall, they'll be pretty tough. So,
all right. Well, we'll talk a little bit about what's coming, but let's talk more about what's happened. The next sport would be wrestling. The wrestlers on Friday night went over to Kearney for kind of a double duel.
Yeah,
they lost to Kearney, but they just whooped up on some school from Texas.
Yeah,
some school from Texas drove all the way up here for our boys to put them in pretzel holds and make them feel bad.
Yeah, they came and they were in the Kearney invite the next day. It's always a good showing at Kearney. We're led by Court and Widener, coached both those kids, and then they're plugging some holes in with some bigger kids, and then they had some freshmen step up. Saturday at Cozad, they did really well. They dominated that tournament.
I've got some results somewhere here. Hastings wins it going away. Wins it by about 63 points over Cozad. Gehring next, Lexington, Wahoo. We're talking about a 16-team tournament, and our boys really handled them. Braden Court, Tucker Adams, Cameron Brumbaugh, and Landon Widener, all champions.
And then Tate just said that Cameron Brumbaugh was the outstanding wrestler. Those are their 4 leaders. I see Coach Kyle almost every day.
You know who we got to get on this show?
Who?
We got to get Landon Widener. That's got to be our first interview after Christmas.
I think so too. We could have some little Husker stories. So
that'd be good.
A little bit.
We'll get Landon on here.
But that's their big 4. I know, Coach, they're excited about some bigger kids that have filled in some weights at the top. They have some freshmen down at the bottom. The Tiger. I was sitting in the North Gym lobby today. I didn't know they finished runner-up at state last year.
Yeah, they did to Bennington.
Yeah. So they're loaded and ready to go.
Hey, I tell you what's going on tomorrow, Trent.
What
is the duel at Columbus, man?
Oh, that's a big
one.
The
school, the Columbus Hastings duel was the wrestling event of the year.
Yeah, they have I saw they have that was bowling I saw. Yeah. But they have a good home meet coming up, I think, a duel. So
they're gonna have Grand Island Northwest next week. But
that's the one. That's a big one for them.
All right. Well, swim and dive got going too. They had a little triangular with Grand Island, but then the big thing that started the weekend was the Tiger Invite. We had 8 teams over at the Y, and you're assuring me the pool is still indoors at the Y, Trent?
It's still indoor, but my source still says the water's pretty cold. So
pretty cold. Well,
Coach Scribb must be looking for some quick times to get him in and out of the pool. Maybe the cold water gets him to move quicker.
Well, we had kind of a tale of 2 teams here. The boys had the better overall team day. They finished 4th out of 8 teams. The girls were 6th out of 8, but they had the brighter, shining individual, as we knew, Abby Fish coming back as our best swimmer. We got to get Abby on here too. We can tell some 8-year-old softball stories too.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we could have her and We
Abby
could
won
have
the
her
50 free and the 100 free.
we could have her and Kellen Kelbell come on.
Kellen Henry Perlich.
Shirless, yeah.
She could come on and talk basketball. She was on that softball team
Yeah,
too.
so we could talk about how you tried to practice an hour and a half, and we found out we could only practice 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Less than that.
I remember it falling apart after about 25 minutes. But
Yeah, that
all
was
right,
with
well,
some breaks.
Kellen HP, we'll get her on here. I've been seeing her at Future Problem Solving.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she's a sharp one. Okay, bowling went to Southern Valley, but the match, Trent, is that bowling talk?
Yeah, pretty close.
Okay, the scrum,
No,
was at Arapahoe at the Tornado Alley Lanes.
oh, the boys told me how many lanes. It is the place to eat in Arapahoe.
Well, there you go.
It is like maybe less. It doesn't have a lot of lanes, and it fills up at night.
All right.
No.
Well, our boys filled it up. They won 21-0 over Southern Valley.
Yeah, we have a lot of seniors back. Most of the starters are back from the top 6. Zach just made it, and then Ethan and Levon from the unified team. There's a couple of kids from my comm arts class that are on from that. So they're Coach Theo's got them fired up to start the year.
I think we need to get Levon and Ethan together for an interview. I think that's our bowling get.
I'm not sure you can put those two in the same room, actually. So
well, maybe we can zoom it like this so they don't have to be in the same room.
Levon would be an interesting. Levon at the pep rally got the biggest pop last week.
Yeah.
He was he has a big. I call him $1 million smile. So.
He does. He's a happy kid. That's great to see.
So it's good to see them. They have a big Tiger Invite Saturday. I'm looking forward to going to that.
I don't have girls' results, though. Did you hear anything about the girls?
I'm not sure. Yeah, you'd think I would know since I got an inside the bowling. But
yeah,
a big Tiger Invite. It's pretty. It's the first time we've hosted a large tournament. So
10 a.m. on the 10th.
Excited on Saturday. So I'm going to head over and watch part of the morning. So
all right, I think I'm going to Leffler Middle School for the season finale of Zoe's middle school girls. I think Saturday morning, but we'll see. All right. Running through the schedule for the week. We got a little interesting thing on Friday with basketball. The boys and girls are traveling. No, they're hosting the school that shall not be called Lincoln Northwest, that should actually be called Lincoln Air Park. We're hosting the Air Park Falcons on Friday night, but not their varsity trend.
No.
Lincoln Northwest is not playing varsity basketball this winter, so just the JV. I don't know. I kind of bet that we'll see some of our juniors who usually only play varsity. I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Danielson, Coach Vanderpool throw them out there, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And then another home game on Saturday afternoon. Looks like tips at 2:30 maybe. I don't know if the girls are first.
Girls first.
Skyhawks coming in.
Yep. They get to make the long drive.
Yeah, that's tough on them sometimes, but that's the girls. I don't know anything about the Scott boys. Let me tell you, Trent, the Scott girls are a salty bunch.
Yeah, I just remember
good, and they got best girl from Blair transferred in.
Ooh, ouch. That's not good.
Yeah.
Have to do a little more. But I just remember Bailey talking about those girls when we beat them. Those were fun times. So
yeah, that was a big win. That was a big win 2014 when Bailey Petzold hit the shot. Yep, that was a big night. All right. Underclass basketball. I don't know how the boys did, but I know the girls got a nice win to start over Grand Island, and then I didn't hear how they did against Aurora. And the boys, young kids, reserves, and freshmen have already played 3 games. So we're going to have to check in and find out how they're doing. On the wrestling end, we talked about the Columbus Duel, and the wrestlers are going to be headed to a big tournament on Saturday at Omaha South. They've been going to that Packer Invite for several years now, and I think we got a couple Packer Invite trophies. So I think we're defending. I think we're the defending champions there, Trenner.
Yeah, both Scott teams are rated number 1 according to the person who's behind the scenes. Yeah, that's what it says.
Holy
And-
cow! All right.
And
Well,
then the younger boys beat
Yeah.
Aurora. So
shock the world, I say. The younger boys beat Aurora. All right.
oh no, girl. Oh wait, whoops. Now he's sending 900.
Girls
messages.
beat Aurora. Girls beat Aurora.
Oh,
All right.
okay. So it's
All
a
right.
good week. We're good. It's busy week too. So next-
Swimmers are out of school on Friday to go to McCook.
that's
They got a quad there. Some Western teams, I'm sure.
probably North Platte.
Yep. And you already talked about Tiger Bowling. And then next week we host a couple duels. We
Yeah,
host
you-
the Arapahoe Warriors and then the Grand Island Northwest Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings are salty. They were, I think they were defending champs. They played Grand Island in the finals.
Yeah.
We almost upset their boys at state. They had to go to that weird rule where they basically invented overtime on the fly. And I think coach is still salty about that. So,
Well, Coach Thea Harris, have them ready. That'll be a big one on the 20th.
yeah.
Hey, quick trivia question, Trent. There's
What's
3
that?
Northwest high schools in Nebraska. Lincoln Northwest, Omaha Northwest, and Grand Island Northwest.
Yeah.
First question is, how many more Northwests is that than we should have?
Oh,
That's 2. That's too many.
too many. Yes, but
Which
there
one's
should
the
only be one. I will honor
Who's the original Northwest?
probably Omaha.
No.
Grand Island was.
Grand Island.
Oh.
Grand Island
Oh.
called themselves Northwest.
We can
They
thank
actually played a
can
couple football games before they had a name.
we can thank Grandpa Jack for that.
Grandpa Jack was in early, but he wasn't in at the end.
Oh, he wasn't.
He pulled out, and then they did the same kind of thing around Wood River. Same type
Oh.
of district.
Okay.
Yeah, same type of district. But yeah, Grandpa Jack wouldn't have been involved at the naming stage. Their first
Oh.
2 football games, they were called Grand Island Class 6. That's a
Oh,
great
wow.
name.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So
It could've been the
talking about coaching debuts, I
Yeah.
was talking with Coach Vanderpool just really quickly. This is the week we usually play Holdridge because it popped up on my social media that when the boys
It's been a couple years, but yeah.
took care. But anyway, I just remember back to one of your first years and pretty classic moment in Mays family and Tiger family history when the girls were struggling on going for loose balls and you dove on the floor during a timeout to show them how to go get a basketball. And I remember the stunness on, or I think I made a new word, but how stunned the Holdridge parents were. Like there was a gasp of air because you dove on the floor to get the ball and you said, we got to do this.
That's just coaching trend, but the Holdridge parents were probably worried I wouldn't be able to get up.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorite memories. I'm just hoping Coach Vanderpool doesn't have to. We had a little chat about that. To stay
I
off
think
the
she's a
floor.
little more cool and collected than me. She has a little different vibe.
But I was sitting in the front 2 rows behind the bench, and I didn't know that was coming at all when you plopped on the floor to get the ball. Of course, I think it showed him. I think they improved a little bit after that to get a loose ball.
I don't know. Those were some salty Holdridge teams. Those were tough games down there.
So
All
I
right,
thought
man.
I'd throw that in.
Well, that's a good one. I think we've covered everything. We're going to go through our last numbers next week. If anybody's interested in one of the posters with the greatest Tiger numbers, get in touch with Tate on social media and he'll tell you how to get one. I've got a few extra around. And I don't know, Trent, you got a last word for this week?
Well, we'll have a debate roundup for December because they're wrapping up. I get those updates. I just didn't pull that together. So
I ordered some pies.
you ordered some pies for debate? Okay.
All right.
Well, go Tigers.
Go Tigers.